So welcome to Doncaster. I'm buzzing to be here because I've seen there's some properties online here that are going for really cheap. There's one with a guide price of £5,000. Now, I've been to loads of places and viewed loads of cheap property, but I've never seen one with the guide price at £5,000. Often those ones, they go to auction with just external only. But yeah, I've managed to get one. I've managed to get a view into that. And there's another one with a guide price of £10,000. So go check that one out as well. So that's really exciting. And I'm just walking around the centre now. I've never been before. But what I am noticing is there's a load of boarded up property. Load of boarded up property in the centre of town. Load of boarded up shops. Load of shops that are just left standing empty. Boarded up by Adrian Welsh. I've seen his name loads of places. He's doing well. But I'm not here to look at the town centre really and the boarded up shops. I'm here to see some cheap property. I will look at the shops if I walk past and see them boarded up, but mainly I'm here to see those cheap houses. I'm going to do a whole nother video series on the decline of the High Street. But yeah, I'm off to see these cheap houses, and one is in an area that gets voted the most dangerous area to live in Yorkshire, or I think it's been called the roughest street in Yorkshire as well. But it's always a load of hype with those names. I never believe it. I've been to loads of places where they say it's super dangerous here, and it always seems fine. Anyway, it's just started absolutely pissing it down. So I'm going to get onto the first viewing, and then maybe come back into the centre, have a look round. Hopefully the rain will stop, and yeah, let's get to it. Right, so here's the first house that I'm viewing, and as you can see, it's boarded up downstairs, but from the outside, it doesn't actually look too bad. Here's the listing online for this property. As you can see, there's the £5,000 guide price. It will go to auction, but look at this. It looks like this house has had a purpose. So let's go in and try and figure out what that purpose was. So we came in through the back garden, which was actually a pretty decent size. There was just a lot of stuff everywhere, needs a total clean out. And there was a foul smell coming from all this, and you had to jump over some pretty gross looking stuff to get into the actual house. But yeah, just a lot of stuff everywhere. You just need to get a tip run sorted, get all that moved. Then going into the kitchen, and again, just a total mess in here really. Stuff everywhere, broken cabinets, a tap that was constantly running. There was also this weird black residue that was all over the walls in the whole house. There's some on the cupboards there. And then also some mouldy fruit. How lovely. There was also, in the corner of this room, a big hole in the ceiling, which I think might have had a purpose, I'm not sure, but we'll learn more about the purpose of this house in the next room. So into the middle room, and there was this weird little cooking setup here, and a load more black residue over all the walls, and a load of stuff, including a big ventilation system that had been hooked up to the fireplace. Now, if you haven't guessed what this house was used for, it was an old grow house. It was used for growing cannabis on quite a big level, I'm guessing, by the amount of stuff that had been left behind, and everything had literally just been left behind. It looks like it's either been raided or just something's happened and they've gone, and everything has just been left in here, including all the old plant pots with all the soil down here. Look at that, so much stuff down here for growing things. Back up here as well, just another shot there of the ventilation system, which will have been used for extracting all that heat needed to grow all that weed. A load of stuff as well here that's probably used in the process, but I don't know what for. There's literally weed on the floor there. So funny. And then coming through here into the hallway, just a bit trashed, and that black residue all over the walls and the roof, which is from a fire, apparently, that was in this house. And the fire brigade came, sprayed it with loads of water, and that's what's left from the smoke damage and the water. I don't know how much internal damage has been done to the house from that. Then you got this little living room on the end here where all the windows have been smashed, so there was a load of glass everywhere. It's quite a small room. Got some nice fitting plant wallpaper there, topical to the use of the house. Then coming through here to the stairs, and there was some more weed on the floor here. Nice. So I was really interested to see what was up these stairs. It's a 2-bed, so I wonder what these rooms have been used for. And you're right, yeah, they've been used for growing weed. Look at all that stuff in there, all the plant pots just left. Now, I didn't count them, but I reckon in this room there was probably 20, 25 plant pots and all these extra fittings just hooked up to give that extra power needed to grow all the weed. An vent put in the wall there, so you can see the house has been totally modified. Now, I don't know how much of that structural change will be hard to repair or if it's just minor stuff, but yeah, loads done to this house to make it fit for growing weed. Just look at all these plant pots still with the stalks in. It was honestly so interesting walking around this house. The most interesting house I've ever looked around because everything had literally just been left. So yeah, it was really fascinating. Bit more of the vent system there and something that had been built over the window, I'm guessing to control more of light in the house. And look at this. They've gone to absolutely no effort to hide what this house was used for, although I probably wouldn't recommend smoking that. And then up there, yeah, there's the ventilation system again. And as you can see, it's got that wallpaper. It was definitely a kid's bedroom at some point up here, probably a few years back now. And then the second bedroom up here, which, yeah, exactly the same as the other one. There was maybe 15, 20 plants in here. Now, I don't know how much weed that grows, to be fair. I don't know what you produce in there, but it does seem like quite a serious setup. All these modifications in this room as well, exactly the same as the other one. The ventilation in the wall there as well. And then you came down this weird narrow corridor. I'm quite broad and it was really tight squeezed down there. And you turned right and then your bathroom was down here, which was kind of weird. And then in the bathroom, just a load more stuff for growing weed. The walls were a bit in a state. There was a bit of a hole in the corner there. And just a load more stuff that I have absolutely no idea what it is. But yeah, I'm guessing it's used for growing cannabis. But this was so interesting. If you've ever wondered what a grow house looks like, this is what a grow house looks like. The aftermath anyway. So obviously there's a lot of internal damage in this house, there's a lot of structural damage, the appearance is awful, and obviously that process of turning it into a grow house, I have no idea what other things come with that, because you're essentially removing the aspect of it being a home. It now fits a purpose for growing stuff, so there may be other things that I just do not know about that will need sorting here. But yeah, if you know, let me know. If you think you might have an idea how much this house would cost to do up, please let me know. Right, there we go. Let's go back to Doncaster, have a look round, and then get onto the second house. So that up there is Mansion House, which was built in the 1700s. That's in the centre of Doncaster. And it's grade 1 listed, and I think it's also got some status that only like 3 other buildings in the whole of the United Kingdom have got. So that's pretty nice, and very different to what we'll be looking at in this video, the houses I'll be looking at. But we're back in Doncaster now. It's the evening time. The next viewing's tomorrow morning. And it's so dead. There's not much going on. So I'm staying in Doncaster tonight. The next viewing's tomorrow. And I thought I'd just hang around the city, walk around, take some of it in. And yeah, it's just a lot of boarded up stuff. A lot of shut down shops. The only thing that's open is betting shops. Looks like there's a lot of pawnbrokers and pubs, Wetherspoons and that. I've never been before. I was thinking it might be a little bit more. Oh, another one over there boarded up. Looks like an old pub boarded up. I was thinking it was going to be a bit more busy, to be honest. A bit more going on, but yeah, doesn't look like it. Everything's just boarded up. I don't even know what it is, but it's boarded up. Something else down here as well. There he is again, Adrian Welsh. The man you call if you need something boarded up. He is everywhere. So Doncaster's obviously really famous for its horse racing. I was just in a bar before and they had the horse racing on. Seems another thing that they're proud of here. And it's got one of the oldest race courses in the world, and it still holds the oldest race in the world, the Doncaster Cup, which is the oldest horse race in the world, which is pretty cool. Oh, what we got down here? A couple of statues of some fellas. I know I said this was mainly going to be a video about the cheap property, but coming back into the centre of Doncaster and just walking around and looking at how many boarded up properties there are, it's just crazy. Look at this. A big old boarded up building bang in the centre of town. Wow. God, the high street's dying, innit? And dying fast. So you got that really big one there, that big building boarded up. What looks like another one next to it, a bit less boarded up, but still looks boarded up. Then you come down what, 20, 30 metres, and another completely boarded up building. There's your man again, Adrian Welsh, good on you, doing the Lord's work. Some of these buildings look mega nice, like the ones across there, but like either a lot of them are for sale or I've just looked in the window, there's nothing going on in them. But it does feel a bit nice around this part. Some of the buildings are lovely. Another massive building there, boarded up. Beautiful big building. So nice. Think of all the things it could be used for. Right, so I've just had a little bit of a sleep in a beautiful hotel that I found. Proper family run, little independent place, real quaint, real tasteful. And now it's the morning after and I'm going to go visit that other house that I've got the viewing for. The one that's in the area that they say is the most dangerous area in Yorkshire. So pretty excited to see that. So yep, let's get on the way and go see that house. So I'm currently in Edlington, which is a town just a couple of miles out from the centre of Doncaster. And I'd seen a property online for sale, guide price £10,000. So I've got a viewing for that. So we'll go check out that in a bit. But I also saw when doing some research that there were a load of boarded up properties, a lot of derelict houses, and that's often the case with these really cheap houses that I see for sale online. Surrounding it, there's often a lot of boarded up properties. So we'll go have a look at that area as well. Now, it's been said online it's the most dangerous area in Yorkshire. So we'll go see what that's all about. But then doing a bit more research as well, I found that Edlington is an old mining town. And after that mine shut down, it did suffer massively with that industry moving away. Now recently I made another film about a town called Hordern in County Durham, which was an old mining town and which, when that industry shut down and that jobs moved away, it really suffered and it was left with a lot of property that was left abandoned. Now I was just seeing all these similarities between Hordern and this town Edlington. So I've come here and I've found a symbol of that mining history, an old pit wheel. Look at this, it's over here. So this was the site of the Yorkshire Main Colliery, which was sunk in 1911 and then closed in 1985. And that's super interesting because in that Hordern film that I made, I went and I found one of them. A sort of symbol of the mining history, the exact same thing, a pit wheel just like that, representing what this town used to be. And it's really interesting because these cheap properties that I'm going to look at, it's no coincidence that a lot of them seem to be in these places where mining used to be the main industry in the town. And like with Hordern, 30 years later, after that industry got shut down, there were still loads of abandoned properties, really, really derelict streets. And it seems to be the case here as well in Edlington, an old mining town. That industry shuts down, and yet still, later on, 30 years later, there's still loads of abandoned properties, cheap houses for sale. So I'm super interested to go see what it's like around here, to see how many abandoned properties there are, and to go in and see this house and see what it's like. But it's just so similar to the Hordern film. It really is. That mining history in both of them. Wow. So I've just driven about 2 minutes down the road, and I've seen another one, another old symbol of the mining history, another pit wheel, look. So yeah, it's really hard to ignore the history of this place with all these things around that are showing what it used to be. So whether you think that the mines should have shut down or they shouldn't, or what you think of coal, is it a good source of power or it's not, that's not the point here. The point you can't ignore is that there is a connection in these mining towns to the lack of support that came back in the 80s and the 90s when they shut down, to the lack of support that's still here today. So I've got a bit of time, I'm just going to check out this street where there's apparently a lot of boarded up property and derelict property. So let's go have a look. So unlike that house that I viewed at the start, the one that we're on for £5 grand, I think that house will definitely sell, and I think it'll sell for more than £5,000. the area seemed alright, there wasn't any boarded up, abandoned property around it. But it's this street here in this area where there's complete streets boarded up, and the price point here I'd seen online was also really, really low. Some had that £5,000 mark, but it seems to be in a cycle here where they're either not selling at that really low price point, or they're selling and then just getting vandalised and destroyed completely. Now, I couldn't get any viewings, none were doing internal viewings, so I could just wander the streets, but I was really hoping to get a glimpse inside one, to see what state they're in, and to see why they're not selling at that really low price point. Yeah, so like every single one's pretty much boarded up on here, especially in the middle anyway. Coming down to the end, they stopped being boarded up. But wow, oh, some more here actually. Yeah, I'm just gonna nip to the next street along and see what that's like, because I'm not sure if it's just a one-off street. Often you get that, you just get one street entirely boarded up and then the ones near it are alright. I did just stop for a Cornish pasty on the end of the road though. I went in and I was asking the woman, I said, what's it like living around here? What's it like? Do you recommend buying a house on that street? And she did say someone got shot last year on the street, but she also said it was kind of like just a lot of drugs, that kind of thing, and if you live around here it's actually not too bad. And then I got chatting to a lad who said the same. He was like, I grew up on that road, it's actually alright, but I mean, someone did get shot. Yeah, there's just a couple on this side of the road that are boarded up, but not like that other one. Let's go back down there. Clark. It's May. What day is it? It's May the 10th. How is it not nice yet? How is the weather not nice? Right, the house viewing is in half an hour. It's just across the road there. So I'm just going to sit in the car because it's absolutely pissing it down. But interesting round here, as I said, like that one street that's really bad, and it is really bad. It might be worse than any other streets I've seen, like totally burnt out roofs in sections, but it's just one street and a few other houses like on streets around it. The rest of the area seems really nice. I cannot see how just that one street can remain for much longer in that condition when everywhere around it is so nice. So it'd be really interesting to see, unlike Hordon where there's so many streets, or Burnley as well where there's so many, this does actually just seem like one street. But yeah, as I say, we'll have to see. But yeah, let's go in and have a look at this house. So here's the second house I'm viewing today. It's an end of terrace, which is nice. Guide price 10 grand, as you can see there. Now it will go to auction, but let's go and have a look. So you can see the floorboards are a bit of a mess here. There's rubbish everywhere as you come in. Two nice sized rooms downstairs here though. You've got a living room here, which was a total mess. Carpet was a mess, stuff everywhere. But I was pleasantly surprised with the walls. I kind of got my hopes up that the rest of the house would be in this shape, which was wrong. Then you're through to another decent sized room down here with like a boiler room off here. Again, just loads of stuff everywhere, rubbish everywhere. Walls were getting a bit worse in this room, but not too bad there. Then through to the kitchen, and this is where the house started to deteriorate pretty fast. So coming into here, the floor was pretty gross, and then this wall on the side, it was really awful. It was kind of growing and mouldy and crumbling at the same time. And then the rest of the kitchen, there was just stuff everywhere, just a lot of mess in general. I could then smell this room approaching me, and I was just really interested to see what was going on in here. And look at this. Look at the state of it in here.
The walls are growing, there's black mould everywhere, the smell was foul in here. Look at all that black mould over the ceiling. Of all the cheap houses that I've viewed on all my property tours, these rooms here were the worst I've ever seen. Just look at this. All that water on the floor. You could hear drips coming from all over the place. Stuff growing on the floor. And then the ceiling again. Just look at all that black mould. Such a mess. The walls were crumbling, growing, dripping. The smell was foul. So the rest of the house, or what I've seen of it so far anyway, felt like maybe it had been lived in quite recently. But then you come through to this area here and you just think, how long has it been left like this for? How long does it take for a room to end up in this state with obviously a lot of leaks? But look at the wall. It's got its own ecosystem, this wall. Absolutely gross. Then coming through here, and this is your view of your garden, which is actually a really decent size, but after seeing that area I'd just been in, everything was a bit of a disappointment after that. So then I made my way up the stairs, and there was sawdust all over the stairs, and I was thinking, what am I going to find up here? Something's going to be weird up here. But 3 rooms up here. This is your first room. Pretty good size, to be fair, just a load of rubbish. So much stuff all over the floor. The house does come with 6 packs of ginkgo biloba. That's included in the price. And then a load more black mould on the ceiling here as well, just spreading across the room. And then here's a view of your garden from this bedroom. I then went into another room and I found the source of the sawdust. Just look at this. So we've seen a house that was used for growing weed, and I think this house might have been used for growing guinea pigs or hamsters. There was just hay and sawdust all over the floor. It's like they just chucked some animals in here and shut the door and just let them do whatever they want. There was also a weird hole in the wall here that had been patched up, and then just more black mould on the ceiling and all over the walls. Through to another bedroom, which was full of stuff. Just everything had been chucked in here. You couldn't really see what the room was like because there was just stuff everywhere. But it was just another small room, really, full of stuff. It's so interesting to come and check out these cheap properties. You never know what you're going to find. And the 2 houses that I've seen in this video have been my favourites by far. Each one has been so interesting, so different, so strange. I just thought I'd come back and have another look in the bathroom as well, just to check it out again. And just look at the walls. What a mess. Oh, it's absolutely gross. I then went to check out the garden, and you got a bit of a wall crumbling there, and I walked round to the back, where you do have a really decent size. It's a really good garden. It's a shame it's attached to this house. So that's been Doncaster. We've seen 2 really interesting houses, especially that first one. That first one was so mad to have a look round. We've seen some boarded up streets and some abandoned property. Now, it was really just confined to that one street, that one area. I didn't find too many areas like that, but the area that I did find, it was so bad. Like that burnt out house that we had a look in, like that's not worth anything, is it? Surely that's not worth anything. There's not really a price you can actually put on that. It was in such a state. This film as well has ended up being a bit of a look at the death of the high street. Now, I didn't intend for it to be that, but looking around Doncaster, I was shocked at how much stuff was boarded up. Pubs, buildings, just so much stuff. It was crazy. And then what's left? Bookies, pawnbrokers. It's really interesting, and I'm going to do a series. My next series is going to be on the death of the high street in this country. So let me know where you live. Is your high street thriving, be it a town, be it a city, or does it look like Doncaster? I know there's loads of places that ain't too far from where I live that are very boarded up. So yeah, let me know what it's like near you, and maybe I can come check those areas out as well for the next series, the death of the high street. I think it should be interesting. So I will say that not all of my channel is a bleak look at the current state of the country. Now, I do find that stuff really interesting. It's super interesting to go and look at. But on my channel, I also try and show a lot of the great stuff that we have in this country and put some light on that. Things that I find are amazing, like the great dry stone walls and the old mill history of this country, the mill chimneys that are still remaining. So go and watch some of them videos as well. It's not all bleak and depressing. I've also got a Patreon page. If you do want to support, that's absolutely amazing. Everything I get, I put back into the content. The support is amazingly appreciated. And yeah, nice one for watching. Thank you.